What are you glad you tried once but will absolutely never do again? This came from one of those Reddit stories. What are you glad you tried once but will absolutely never do again threads? But my story isn't about bungee jumping or eating weird food. Mine is a warning. I think I was part of an experiment. It started when I went to the Philippines. I have a pacemaker, a medical device. I knew I was supposed to be careful, but the ocean was just calling to me. I wanted to scuba dive. Just once. I wanted to feel normal. I did what we all do. I Googled, can I scuba dive with a pacemaker? The answers were all over the place. Yes. No. Maybe. It was a total mess. Looking back, I think that confusion is intentional. Let me know in the comments if you've ever gotten mixed signals like that right before doing something risky. I found this tiny, out-of-the-way dive shop. The instructor, a guy I'll call Marco, seemed professional, but his eyes were too focused. He asked about the pacemaker. I thought it was for safety. He asked for the exact model number. I told him. He wrote it down in a logbook and said, "This model is fine, no problem." His confidence was reassuring, but it felt fast. Too fast. The boat ride out was beautiful. Turquoise water, sun shining. I was so excited my hands were shaking. I geared up. He checked my straps, then tapped my chest right over the device. "You feel good?" he asked. I nodded. We went down. The first 10 meters were pure magic. I was breathing underwater. The colors were blinding. Coral reefs, schools of tiny electric blue fish. I finally understood why people did this. I completely forgot about the device in my chest. We drifted along a reef wall and Marco pointed. Down below, just sitting on a rock, was an octopus. It was huge. I stopped to look, expecting it to camouflage or jet away, but it just sat there. It was perfectly still, staring. I felt a weird chill. Marco signaled for me to keep moving. He wanted to go deeper. I pointed at my dive computer. We were already at 20 meters. That's the standard limit for an open water dive. He just waved his hand. Deeper, deeper. I hesitated. This wasn't the plan. But he was the instructor, right? He knew best, so I followed him. Down past 25 meters, down to 30. The light started to fade. The colors weren't as bright. It was just deep, heavy blue. And the pressure. I felt it in my sinuses, in my ears, and then in my chest. It started as a tickle, a faint, unfamiliar buzz right over my heart. It wasn't the pacemaker's normal check. I know what that feels like. This was different. It was an active, steady vibration, like a phone on silent, held against my skin. I stopped. My breath hitched. I grabbed my chest. I looked at Marco and signaled the problem sign, pointing frantically at my chest. He just hovered there, perfectly still in the water. And he smiled. I could see his eyes crinkle behind his mask. He wasn't surprised. He wasn't concerned. He was watching. He knew this would happen. That's when I saw the octopus again. Or what I thought was the octopus. It was below us now, still watching. And I realized it had followed us from the shallower rock. It had kept its distance, but it was tracking us. The buzzing in my chest got stronger. It started to hurt. A dull, electric ache. I was panicking. I was 100 feet down, my heart was doing something terrifying, and the only person who could help me was smiling. I signaled I was going up. I made the ascend sign with my thumb. He just shook his head. No. He shook his head no and actually put a hand on my shoulder, pushing me down slightly. My mind was screaming. This was not a dive. This was an abduction. The buzzing in my chest was so intense now I thought my heart would stop. I yanked my dive computer up, the little screen glowing in the dark blue. I was checking my air, my depth, anything. And that's when I saw it. An icon I had never seen before. It wasn't in the manual. A tiny symbol, like a Wi-Fi signal, was flashing. And next to it, one word: transmitting. It was flashing in perfect time with the vibration in my chest. My pacemaker was sending data. It was broadcasting my vital signs, my heart's reaction to the pressure, everything. I looked at Marco. He had his own wrist computer, a big bulky thing. He wasn't looking at his air. He was reading my data. He was collecting it. I was the test. I was the experiment. I thrashed, trying to get away from him, and that's when I saw the other thing. The octopus. It was moving closer. It wasn't swimming like an octopus. It was propelling. Small jets of water. It drifted up to about 10 feet away from me, and in the low light I saw it clearly. It wasn't an animal. It was metal. Dark, burnished metal, with 8 jointed mechanical legs. It was a drone, and right in the center, where a beak should be, was a single small blinking red light. It was the eye. It was recording. I screamed into my regulator. The sound was just bubbles. I was trapped between a man who was studying me and a machine that was recording me. That's when the fight or flight thing kicked in. I wasn't going to be a test subject. I ripped his hand off my shoulder and I went. I kicked for the surface. I didn't care about the bends. I didn't care about a safe ascent. I just knew I had to get out of the water. I looked down one last time. Marco wasn't chasing me. He was just watching me go. He and the mechanical octopus. They just watched. The vibration in my chest stopped the second I broke 10 meters. Like a switch was flipped. I burst onto the surface, ripping my regulator out, gasping, crying. The boat was 50 yards away. I swam, my gear feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I hauled myself onto the deck, collapsing, shaking. The boat driver, a local kid, just looked at me, confused. 5 minutes later, Marco surfaced. He climbed aboard, calm, methodical. He didn't even look at me. He just started breaking down his gear. I was hyperventilating. I kept saying, my heart, you. He just ignored me. He said one thing to the boat driver. She panicked. Then he looked at me, his eyes completely empty, and said, your job is done. I never saw him again. I was on a plane out of Manila within 24 hours. I went to my cardiologist the day I got back. I told him everything. He ran a full diagnostic. He said the pacemaker's internal log was wiped, completely clean. There was no record of the dive, no record of the vibration, no record of any transmit mode. He said that was impossible. He said he couldn't even wipe the log like that. Someone or something had erased the data. So now I sit here. This isn't just one of those Reddit stories. This is my life. I can't sleep. I check the news for advanced medical technology. I search for underwater surveillance. I know what I saw. They weren't testing the pacemaker. They were testing if they could control it, if they could access it from a distance, under extreme conditions. And they could. The dive was just the test environment. And that octopus? That was the receiver. I wasn't just a test subject. I was a successful test subject. And I keep thinking, if they can do it to me, in the middle of the ocean, where else are they? And who are they watching right now?